Okay, so this is the Wickes Moon Shadow vinyl matte emulsion paint that I've used in my lounge, and the paint that's been causing me problems. Give it a bit of a mix. Now, I don't know if you can see, but there are, yeah, you can actually, there's some streaks in here. Now, I've already stirred this for a bit, and these streaks don't seem to be going away. So you can see that giving it a proper stir, right? So I'll show you how long I'm going to stir it for.
So you can see that I've not been doing it for too short time. I'm stirring it quite vigorously.
And I've still got these streaks, see? And I think that might be part of the problem.
Not going away. It's like there's something in the paint that doesn't want to blend. And I think that's what's giving me the patchiness.
And look, if you look at consistency, see, it's not like I haven't mixed it properly. Now, bearing in mind that I sent a sample of this paint to Wickes, and you know, after I complained that there was a problem with the paint, and they said that, I can't quote them, but it was basically they're saying it fell within their guidelines. So essentially they're saying, you know, the paint's okay, but so it doesn't look okay to me.
And you'll see soon when I paint it on the wall, it'll be patchy. There's plenty of patchy areas on the wall in my lounge. I mean, I'm stirring so much to give me armic, and it's just made absolutely no difference.
Still really streaky in there.
It's just not blending together at all.
Just duff paint, as I've said all along. But Wickes don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept the blame.
They just want to say that I should have been painting with a wet edge, which is what I said. Always keep a wet edge. Because I said that where I painted with a roller and the paintbrush, it hadn't blended. So they said I should have been painting with a wet edge, or always keep a wet edge rather. But I think that's rubbish because in this...
Okay, so in this kitchen, so this yellow wall, this is Wickes paint, this is sherbet. Here, this was all dug out. You can see the sort of remains where it was all dug out. This is all channeled out or chased, I think they call it. I painted the room, then I had an electrician come in and he chased out the wall. He chiseled it out, then I filled it in and then I repainted it. I sanded it back and repainted over it. You can see how there's just nothing. You can't see any lines, any marks. It's just all blended perfectly. And yet when it comes to this paint hasn't blended at all. So if we go in the lounge, this is where it hasn't blended. That's a test I did last time. Still like it was before. And see up here how bad that is? There on there. I mean, this bracket, that's actually plastic. It's not like, you know, I can blame it on the wall, and because this isn't part of the wall, it's just a bit of plastic, and it hasn't blended on that either.
So anyway, I'll keep doing this, and I'll take this in the other room, and I'll put it on the wall. Now, here's why I'm so annoyed is because I had the house recarpeted, and the last thing I really did was have to my plan for repainting the room. But, you know, when you have your carpet in, you know, why did you get paint on it? And it's just a hassle to try and protect it. So obviously, you know, you do a good frame before the carpet comes, but when the paint doesn't work, and you've already got your carpet in, and you're stuffed. So I've already put 3 coats on the wall of my lounge, and that hasn't been enough. Well, I don't think it'll be enough.
This is paint, as you can see, is duff. Still isn't blended.
See? So I'm just going to have to make this video and contact Wickes again and try and do what I can to sort this out, but I'm not happy.
That hasn't blended at all. So I don't need to do loads. Now this is just how I'd normally use a roller, you know how I'd paint any room. You may even see already, in one of the cameras actually, how there's streaking on the wall. So there's my fully loaded up roller, see, it's not overloaded. And I'll just do a couple of stripes, shall I? Now bearing in mind that this wall has already been painted 3 times. All right, it's got 3 coats of paint on it. So like I say, this should just blend in completely, but it won't.
Just do a nice thick stripe here.
So this line should just blend right in. Because effectively I'm just putting another coat on. There we go, there's my brush there. Let's just imagine, I don't know, I'm maybe painting around this clock a bit. So, like that. There's a reflection here, so I'll follow the line of reflection, shall I? Let's do that. So this should just blend, I mean I've just painted the roller, so this just should blend right in. In fact what I'll do is I'll write something in the paint. But hey, it's the same colour paint, so it should blend in, right? So I'll put my name, shall I? Put Ross. Like that. And I'll sort of press it a bit more, so just to sort of, so it's not like a big splodge of lots of wet paint. Make sure it's the same amount of paint as the roller's put down. Okay, so spread that out a bit. Okay. More in there. Do the last S. Okay. Right, so there we go. Okay, so there's my other brush, and let's say I want to paint some in here. Tell you what I'll do is maybe I'll just cover that whole area, which I didn't cover with the roller. Because in theory, it should just blend in, right? It's all the same colour paint. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty warm in here, so it's probably like 25, 26 degrees. So this should dry pretty darn quickly. And what I'm going to do, I think, is on the phone, which is this camera here, I'm going to set up a time lapse so you can see the paint drying. And I mean, someone will probably say, oh, it's too hot to be painting. Well, I think everyone paints in summer, don't they? I mean, actually, as well, when I painted originally, I painted in January, and I had a dehumidifier running. So it's like, well, take your pick. You know, I've painted both in winter and summer, so you can complain about both conditions if you like, but someone's got to paint sometime, and I've tried both, and I bet you neither will be any good. I think already it looks pretty darn awful. Already it's just like, it looks awful. I mean, right, if I get that phone camera, so there we go. Now if I get closer, you see, I mean, I don't know if you can see, but I mean, this visually to the eye, you know, looks dry. Obviously it isn't, because I mean, it's done it. You know, you can see on this one, you know, this is where it's still slightly wet and it's starting to dry off. It's drying so quickly, and that is blatantly not blending at all. So right, we've got the old coat here, and this is actually where, I don't know, I've touched it or something and it's made a mark. You can see this stripe here, that's from when I painted it last time. And then here we've got what I've just painted, all right? Okay, so just painted all this, trying to get a different angle, get the, I mean, to my eyes it looks really obvious, but on here it's quite bright, so I'm going to just get the lighting more to like what it actually is. Right, it's kind of like that. That is more like the tone, and at that. How damn awful does that look? And to me, that is not blending in the slightest. I mean, you could say, well, you know, this is still wet, you know, and this is the dry, which is. But then, okay then, but this is still wet as well. I've only just painted that too. So why isn't that blending with that? I can understand it might stand out from this, but why is this new paint all not blending together at all? I mean, how clear is that? You can see my name written on my wall. It's just rubbish. This paint is absolutely useless. I can't believe that Wickes think this paint is okay. I mean, here is like when I painted it originally. You see all the lines here, and then there we go. See all that really bad. Again, that is where it hasn't blended at all with the. So I would have brushed it first and then rolled it up as close as I could. I'll put this on time lapse. So you can see it as it dries a bit more, but it's blatantly not going to blend. I mean, Wickes are just crazy if they think this paint's alright. So, tell you what I'll do, just to sort of be kind, maybe I'll get the brush and I'll paint over part of a letter, as if, you know, I was doing a block and I want to blend it in, you know, the roller parts there, right? So I'm going to do a block here, trying to blend it into the roller. Right. So I'm trying to do it a bit sort of lighter here, maybe, hoping it will blend in. It's not though, is it? It's not going to blend in. I think you can see what I'm talking about now. You know, I've painted as though I was painting around my clock with a paintbrush, and you can see where I've sort of feathered off with the paintbrush. It's not blended at all. You can see the big blocks of where I've painted with the roller, and there's with the paintbrush again, and then roller. I did the roller all across here, wrote my name with a paintbrush, okay? And although it's drying in, like, I can see where it's drying more than others, but the driest part here, for example, I can still clearly see, obviously, you know, it says my name, and so I really don't know what to say. I mean, like, it just looks bad. And I'll do the time lapse, and you'll be able to see, you know, over time then. Obviously I'll have the clock here so you can see what's happening. And you see over time as it dries, and it's just going to stay the same basically. So it's now, wait, I don't know if you can see the time on there from this camera, but it's been 20 minutes since I stopped painting, and it's, you know, some of it is blending in slightly, where I roll it at least. I can still see some lines, but where I painted is very obvious. Now that will probably fade a bit, probably because, you know, the paintbrush is, I guess it's going to be laid on slightly thicker maybe, or, you know, the pressure is different, or a roller maybe. But I think it'll still be very obvious and clear that, you know, my name is written on the wall. You've seen me mixing it, you've seen me loading up the roller, you've seen me painting it with a paintbrush, with 2 different paintbrushes. You've seen me overlapping wet paint on wet paint, you know, with a you know, wet paintbrush on wet rollered paint. So I don't really know what other evidence you want, Wickes, that this paint is not okay, because it isn't. it's been over an hour. I think it was 20 past 12, I think it was, when I had finished doing some painting. So it's had plenty of time to dry and blend in, and well, there you go. So I mean, you know, you can see a very distinct line there. You can see that's really patchy there, like someone's almost like sponged it. And then here, where when I've brushed it and I've you know, obviously here, this part where I've run out of paint on the brush and it's just, you know, feathered. And well, I mean, I'm painting on exactly the same colour, and although that's less paint there than there, that should just blend in. Just as where I've painted with a paintbrush, that should blend in. But just look how clear that is. I mean, you can see it like plain as day. You can see where I painted around the clock. Now I didn't go right up to the edge here. I just kind of deliberately came out about an inch away from the clock, and you can just see that so clearly. Now, just to be clear though, this is just a shadow of the clock, but below that, this is where I've painted. So this was back in January when I did this bit up here. And then see that, I mean, now I've got light on it, you can see how obvious that is. It's like I've sponged it, but that's just a roller. And this would have been a third coat. And look at that, that's just shocking, that is. And Wickes think this paint is okay. Ridiculous.